Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Stephanie from Lumeria Star. So today we're going to take a look at the Wanderer's Tarot. I believe this started as an indie deck and now it has gone mass market, which is this version. So I've unwrapped the plastic. The plastic wrapper had a paper on the inside, which looks like this. So I just kind of wanted, it was on the back. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the deck first. So it says here, the Wanderer's Tarot was born out of the desire for a deck centered in feminine wisdom, insight, and elemental magic. For the magical practitioner, these cards are both tools and talismans. The suits of moons are cups, stones are pentacles, knives are swords, and feathers are wands, and they will lead you to a deeper understanding of your personal power. The Wanderer's Tarot is to be used not only for divination, but also as a spiritual guide, a self-care companion, and a way to connect with your personal magic. So already, I really love that description. I was drawn to this originally because of the black and white aesthetic, and it had like a witchy vibe to it for sure. And then it says here, inspired by nature and the cosmos, Wanderer Tarot is a witchier deck with an air of the darkly feminine. So that is totally up my alley. So let's just take a look. This is a beautiful like clamshell box. I really think more creators and publishers of tarot and oracle definitely need to do the clamshell box. It's so nice to have like one deck as opposed to like keeping track of two parts of a, two-piece box. And I know that sounds like really silly, but like it's nice. It's nice to have. So let's go ahead and open it up. Let's take the cards out. And this is just what the inside of the box looks like, really simple. And it has here, these are how the suits are, I guess like renamed in the deck. So it's moons, stones, feathers, and knives. And then we have the directional correspondence, so like northeast, south, and west. So that's really nice. We'll put this kind of off to the side here. And then we have a little like, I guess it's like a fold out. We'll take a look at this at the end. So I'm going to put that off to the side for right now. So these are the cards. I want to say this is almost more like oracle size. These are the pretty backs, very like simplistic, but I like it for sure. These are gilded in a silver metallic, and in certain lights, it looks a little like sparkly or shimmery a little bit, which is cool. And then these are the cards. So already it's slightly glossy, but not like that ultra glossy. So like I'm fine with that. But let's just like take a look at the cards. I don't really know a lot about the imagery. I just know that it was more like distilled down. It feels very simplistic, but also modern. So let's just like take a look and see what we have here. So here we have the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess. And we can see too, like even though these images are more simplistic, we have a lot of the elements of like so far, like the archetypes. The Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot. That's interesting. That's like an anatomical heart in the Chariot. So that's interesting. It kind of gives me like a vibe of like the Chariot or like your path. It's very like heart-centered, heart-driven. Like it's our true path if like our soul is in it. That's kind of the vibe it gives me. Strength. The Hermit. That's interesting too. Like we see like the light coming out of the hermit's palm as opposed to the lantern. So this card in particular kind of gives me a vibe of like, be the light that you're looking for. Wheel of Fortune, Justice. We see our scales are a little bit unbalanced here. The Hanged Man. Death. I really like that card. He's kind of cute. Temperance. The Devil. And you can see again, like we have all the elements of the devil, like the key imagery, but it's just kind of like distilled down. So if you like more simplistic decks, you might really like this. The Tower. The Star. That's really beautiful. The Moon. The Sun. Oh, I like that. Like we have the sun here in the palm of our hands. So it's within us, that like happiness, that joy, that contentment, our inner light. It's really coming from within. That's like the vibe I'm getting from that. Judgment, kind of this sense of like this all-seeing eye. And the World, that's really cute. I love how the figure here is wearing a witchy hat. So that's adorable. Okay, so now we are in our minors. So this is the Suit of Feathers, which I believe is Wands. So we can see here, this is pretty pippish, I believe. It's really pretty though. The line work is like really delicate. I'm gonna have to see how this works for me. Like I really wanna get better at reading more simplistic, more pip type illustrations. Like I've found in the past, I really do prefer more fully illustrated minors because it really lets me sink into the artwork. But I do think there is something to be said about really simplifying the artwork as well. So that might be like an interesting practice for me. I love the little witchy hat here. These feathers are really pretty. I like that a lot. Another witchy hat. Okay, so it looks like our courts are renamed. So the page is the philosopher. So they're kind of like questioning everything. Maybe they're new to their trade, or maybe they're new to this suit. They're maybe inquisitive, so that kind of makes sense. So the knight is the goddess, I believe. Okay, I would have thought maybe more queen, but that works too. And then we have the prophet, so I guess that's the queen. And then the wanderer, or is this backwards? This must be backwards. That would make sense, I think. I would think the wanderer is the page, the prophet is the knight, the goddess is the queen, the philosopher. I don't know. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm gonna have to check with the little pamphlet guidebook what's what. So that's interesting to note. Okay, so now we're moving into our knives. So we've got our Ace of Knives. Oops, losing my cards here. So again, some of these are very pippish. So if you are a beginner, this may or may not be a good choice for you. Unless you're really drawn to the artwork, then obviously go for it. But if you don't already know the meanings, this might be a little more difficult for you to pick up. So we've got our philosopher of knives, the goddess of knives, and again, we see the witchy hats, which I'm loving, prophet of knives, wanderer of knives. Okay, so now we're in our suit of moons, which is the, no, is it cups? Is it cups? Yes, moons are cups in this deck. That's really beautiful. I love that card. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we've got our philosopher of moons. That's really cute with the crescent moon as the head. Goddess of moons. So we have different moon phases here. Prophet of moons. We've got like a full or a dark moon, depending on how you see it. And a wanderer of moons. And then we are in our suit of stones, which is pentacles. So it looks like they're depicted by like crystal clusters, I guess. We've like, are those like little geodes? And then we've got our philosopher of stones, goddess of stones, prophet of stones, and wanderer of stones. So let's just take a look here. This is the like fold out, which is supposed to be the guidebook. So we have here manifest. The Wanderer's Tarot is a divination tool and a practice of personal reflection. Acquaint yourself with the archetypes of nature and cosmos in order to discover the expansive microcosm within. Speak with the cards and they respond in the language of spirit and symbol. Light a candle and let the journey begin yourself. That's really nice. So then here it talks a little bit about the suits, so how they're renamed, and then a little bit about what the suits mean. We have a little bit about numerology, the quartz. Okay, so, let's see here. So the philosopher is a student, goddess, strong, nurturing figure. See, that still sounds to me like the queen. Prophet, the seeker and seer, one with knowledge to inform their action. So that sounds like the knight to me. But then the wanderer, a buoyant, excited traveler ready to take on the gifts. So I'm not actually sure which one's the king and which, because like when I see the word student, I think page. But then, you know, excited traveler, that's also very page energy. So I'm not sure which one's the king. Interesting. Okay. And then we have our major arcana with some keywords. And then let's see here. And then we just have a fold out. So, okay, so the earth element to be silent. And then we've got some keywords. To dare is water, and we've got keywords. Fire, to will, keywords, and to know. So that's interesting. Also, it's interesting too that like the way they've depicted the seasons, like I see it in different decks, different suits being depicted differently. Like I've seen in other decks, water is like fall, whereas this one, earth is fall. So it's just like interesting. I like seeing other artists and creators' interpretations of that. So let's just give this a shuffle and let's see what comes up. So I have to admit, this is very pippish for me, and I am a little confused with the quartz. So that might be like a learning curve for me with this one. But we will see what comes through. All right, so let's just, I'm shuffling right now, and let's just see what message this deck, let's see, I want to ask what this deck has to share with me. Okay. Strength. So that one's pretty cut and dry. So perhaps using this deck, as I mentioned, like it is out of my comfort zone. And the cards, again, are pippish. They're a little more minimalistic. And I do when I do readings, I like to rely on the visuals and the imagery that comes out at me. So perhaps this deck might help me become a stronger reader. So that's kind of interesting, and that totally makes sense. The Chariot, and I was just mentioning that card before, how I feel like, you know, I think this is a really interesting illustration that there's like a heart in the center, and like perhaps this deck will help me like further my journey with tarot, further my knowledge. So that's really interesting and kind of makes sense. So that was a little message for me. Let's pull a card for the collective and see what we get. Let's see what this deck wants to tell you all. So if you're watching this message, whatever comes through is meant for you. Okay, so we have got the 10 of feathers. So that would be the 10 of wands, I believe. Yep. So, you know, I think this card is saying right now that like maybe there's some burdens happening right now. Maybe you've been stressed out, overworked, and maybe it's time to like, I don't know, how can you like ask others for help? How can you delegate some activities? Like, how can you not take on as much? And then let's ask for some advice here. So we have got, and see, this is going to be hard for me too, because it's so minimalistic. So that's the 7 of stones, I want to say. Is that the 7 of stones, or is it moons? Because we got, these look like moons. I think it's stones. So if this is the 7 of stones or the 7 of pentacles, I think the message here is if you're feeling kind of overworked and overburdened, you know, maybe take some time, and like when we plant the seeds of whatever we want, we also have to step back and like let things be, let them grow. You can't force them to grow any faster than they want to. So I think that's really just a message for you all to like take a step back and say, you know what, I've done all the work right now. Like now sometimes you can just sit back and see what happens. Like it's going to grow. It's going to come to fruition when it's meant to. And then let's just pull one more. We've got the Ace of Moons, which I believe the moons is our cups. That's our feelings and emotions. So I think once we're able to do that, we'll be able to get a greater sense of like personal fulfillment and like be able to have the space and the emotional energy to fill up our own cups when we're not feeling kind of overworked and overburdened. So I hope that message resonated with some of you. If it did, please leave a comment below and let me know. And then also let me know what you think of this deck. So this is, again, it's witchy, it's monochromatic, it's got that black and white vibe. I do think this is going to be helpful for me in my tarot journey. Just being able to kind of flex my muscles and really dig deeper into what cards mean, and also with the simplicity, like maybe it's just a little bit about getting back to basics. So yeah, this is my walkthrough, unboxing, and first impressions of the Wanderer's Tarot. And this is by, who's the creator? Casey Zabala. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked this video, give it a like. And if you want to see more of my videos in the future, because I'm new to YouTube, I would love for you to click subscribe so you can see more of the videos that I create. And then for those of you who don't know me on Instagram, you can follow me there at @LumeriaStar. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.